Hello Legacy Sabers, Marsh here. So today we're going to look at function operations and compositions. What you want on you today. You want your notes. You're probably going to need a calculator and pen or a pencil. Your learning targets as today. I can perform operations on functions and also I can perform compositions on functions. So here I have about 4 different functions: f of x, g of x, h of x, and j of x. And what we're going to do is basically add them together, subtract them together, multiply, all that business. So my very first thing I have is g of x plus h of x. So I'm going to find out what g of x was. G of x is x squared plus 4x minus 3. So I'm going to write that down right here. X squared plus 4x minus 3. Then I have h of x right there. So h of x is 4x squared minus 2x. And notice, guys, it's saying add these two together. So I'm just going to put those in parentheses there. 4x squared minus 2x. Alright, so now, all it's saying for us to do is add like terms. And you did that in Algebra 1. So let's add like terms. So very first thing I notice, x squared and 4x squared are like terms, right? So if an x squared and I have to add 4x squareds to that, that would be 5x squareds, right? Because I got 1x squared here plus 4 more x squareds, that is 5x squareds in total. 4x and a negative 2x. So I got 4x's minus 2x's, that is 2x's left. And then notice, guys, this minus 3, he is all alone. So g of x plus h of x is 5x squared plus 2x minus 3. Not too bad, right? Now we have 2f of x minus g of x. So what is this 2 gonna do, you probably are asking? All it's gonna do is multiply whatever f of x is by 2. So let's just kind of write it out. I have 2, and then f of x is negative 2x. Subtract g of x, so x squared plus 4x minus 3. Now, first of all, let's multiply this 2 in. So I'm going to get negative 4x minus all of this. There we go. Now, subtracting. Subtracting has a little bit of a special thing with it. What you have to do, guys, is you do need to make sure that you distribute this negative. Consider that you have a negative 1 there. So I'm going to distribute that negative in. Otherwise, you do have to pay attention to that you're subtracting and then you forget the negatives. It's just a big mess. So I recommend distributing in the negative into the expression behind it. Now, if I do that, I will get an addition sign in the middle of the 2. So, negative 1 times x squared is a negative 1x squared. Negative 1 times a positive 4, negative 4, and negative 1 times negative 3, positive 3. Now, all I have to do is combine like terms again. So, it looks like negative 1x squared is his own person, so I'm just going to put him first. I got negative 4x and a negative 4x. So that would be a negative 8x, and then plus 3. Not too bad, right? That's actually pretty close. Not too hard. Let's try multiplication now. So I got j of x times h of x. So let's figure out j of x is x minus 5 times h of x, which is 4x squared minus 2x. Now, guys, if you remember multiplying, do you remember FOIL? Yes, you do probably remember FOIL. So first, outsides, insides last. So basically, each person needs to talk to each person. Consider it that way. So I'm going to multiply the x by the 4x squared and the x by the negative 2x. So I'm going to get 4x cubed times negative, subtract negative 2x squared, because I multiplied the x by the negative 2x. Now let's do the negative 5 times those people. So I got negative 5 times 4x squared. That is negative 20x squared. Negative 5 times 4. And then negative 5 times a negative 2x. That is a positive 10x. Do I have anybody to put together? Because you always, after you're done multiplying, remember, you always combine the like terms. So I got two people, it looks like right here. So I got 4x cubed, 22x squared, right? Because the 22, 2 and 20 makes 22. Alright, so now we got f of x times g of x. So I got negative 2x times x squared plus 4x minus 3. Well, looks like this guy just needs to be distributed in, just multiplied in. So negative 2x times x squared, that would be negative 2x cubed, right? Because negative 2 times 1 would be negative 2. And then x times x squared, all you do is add the exponents. If you're multiplying like bases, exponent rules. And then now I have negative 2x times positive 4x, that is negative 2 times 4, negative 8, x times x, bx squared. And then I have negative 2x times a negative 3, that would be 6x. Any duplicates, any persons that I could put together, like terms? Doesn't seem like it. No like terms in that problem. So f of x times g of x would be equal to negative 2x cubed minus 8x squared plus 6x. Now, let's think a little bit more of the Algebra 2 content here. H of negative 2. We just talked about function notation, right? So what that meant was take negative 2 and plug it in to h. So basically, I need to, into h, plug negative 2 in for my x. Now notice, guys, I need to plug it in for both of my x's, not just one. They are the same x. You do need to plug it in for every single x in the problem. So I have, let's kind of do my order of operations, right? So exponents first, negative 2 to the second, that would be 4. So now I have 4 times 4 there. Negative 2. Let's do some multiplication. 4 times 4, 16. Negative 2 times negative 2, that is a positive 4. So it looks like my answer for h of negative 2 would be 20. Now, let's take that information, that idea of function notation, and transfer it to what's known as a composition. So this kind of problem is a composition. They look kind of creepy, but they're not too bad. J of g of x. Now, calm down. Let's see what this means. What this is saying is into j, so we're going to evaluate the value of g at x, and we're going to evaluate the value of j when it's value of g, the value of x. So all you're doing is you're taking the function g and you're going to plug it in to j. Let's write it so it doesn't look as creepy. Let's put so that the g of x, let's actually write what that means. What is that function? So I will now have j of x squared plus 4x minus 3. All I did, guys, was take that g of x and plop it where it was. So now all this is saying, kind of like h of negative 2, is into j, wherever you see your x, instead put x squared plus 4x minus 3. Let's do the same thing. So into j, I see an x. I need to put this instead. There we go. So I got x squared plus 4x minus 3 minus 5. So let's combine our minus 3 and our minus 5. Whoa, my pen is kind of strange today. Let's do some erasing there. That would be a minus 5 right there. So x squared plus 4x minus 8 would be my final answer for j of g of x. Let's try one more composition here. So I have g of f of x. So all it's saying is into g, please plug in f. So let's write that out. Let's make sure that we change this f of x into whatever f of x actually is. So I will have g of negative 2x. Because that's all f of x is, right? It's just negative 2x. So now what this is telling me is into g, wherever I see an x, I better be putting negative 2x instead. So let's plug it in here to g. So I see an x, so it's going to be negative 2x squared plus 4, another x there. So let's plug in negative 2x, because that's what we're told, based on function notation. We're evaluating the value of g at the value negative 2x. We're just not going to get a nice number out of it. We're going to get an expression. So I have finished writing all of g of x, plugged in my negative 2x. Let's simplify. So I got negative 2x quantity squared. So guys, remember, drop that squared in exponent rules, right? So I'm going to get negative 2 squared, x squared, which would be 4x squared, right? 4 times negative 2, that is negative 8x minus 3. So the value of g of f of x is 4x squared minus 8x minus 3. And that is the end of this particular video. See you later, Sabers.